what's going on?
What's going on? Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you sitting down with me.
Are you kidding me? It's the pleasure's all mine. Come on. This
Listen,
is
you're my
awesome.
guy. I mean, as you saw, I had Faina on. You're like our fellow face-off friend, but you are my first SFX male artist on the show. So exactly.
That's awesome. It's an honor. It's an honor to be here.
I'm just happy to have you. So now tell me, your journey is a really long one. And I was telling you earlier, I was like, this man, he's new in the business. For people that don't know your name and they're about to, and I know anybody that's interacted with you in the business and just as a friend, they adore you. You're just that dude, just so sweet and kind, and you carry it through all your work. I know when I first met you, I was like, I have to work with you because I even got to some fun projects where I made you.
We did a cool project together. We gotta do more together. Come on.
I know, exactly. And you killed it. He did a Beetlejuice. He did a whole Beetlejuice arm for me. I was like, it's something minor, super simple. I need you to mold a whole arm for me. It's no big deal. Just do it. And you were
that was amazing. It was such a fun project. I had a blast on that one. I still have the molds and stuff. And yeah.
Listen, I need to do more with you because it really are two minds together like that. Because as we know, I'm not an SFX girl. I'm just more beauty and body paint. This is all you are as far as monsters.
Don't sell yourself short. You can do anything.
No. I'll leave it up to you. You can do that. I'll watch you more. But it is wild watching you. You're joining me as a brother recently. You're only a year in the union. So
not even officially, which is cool because so this coming Monday is my 29th birthday, which is pretty cool.
Oh, good.
And last year, my 28th birthday was my union interview. Was on my birthday was my union interview. So it's not even been a full year yet that I've been officially a 798 brother. But yeah. So this coming Monday is the year mark of, I guess, that I got in. So
the whole thing. Have you loved it? It's been a journey. I mean, I've watched you slowly get into it.
It's been a slow build, but it is an amazing thing to happen. Once you get that satisfaction of making it, it really justifies every decision you made up until this point, and the journey feels validated, and it is an honor. It's an honor to be a member and to be a brother and to have that badge of,
It's
really cool.
Kind of working up to that. I mean, there's so many benefits with it, but you really do feel like, okay, cool. Like, I feel like a true professional in a way when it gets you with that badge, and it is nice. And not to say any artist that isn't in the union is not professional qualified, but it's that amazing feeling that we've reached for that and you got in.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of you.
I feel like exactly, and I feel that's kind of an end goal for every artist in the business is to try to get to that level, or if not, there's obviously a great life to be had without it too, also, but for me personally and what my goals were, like it was a necessary step, and yeah, line focus, and I'm super blessed to have that opportunity. So
now I want you to tell me I want you to kind of get into your journey for me, because I think it's different, but also very aspiring and relatable to most people coming up in that journey. Because you specifically, and I want to know if it was your direct vision, did you know you always wanted to do special effects? Was that something you always knew at a young age?
I didn't know, not necessarily that, special effects makeup per se. I always did know that I wanted to work with my hands, whatever it was. I was always better when I was working with my hands. All my school projects, things like that, all my electives were geared towards hands-on things. Art classes, I took like every elective I could take when I could take them, were always art-based. It was Art 1 and Art 2 and Art 3, pottery, I did woodworking, even a table, the table my laptop's on right now is a table I made in my senior year of high school. My parents have it. Yeah, that's So anything I could do hands-on, I was geared toward. It's just something that was like instilled in me, I guess, at birth.
You have that innate talent. Yeah. It's such an interesting medium that then you found in makeup. You know what I mean? To be like, because there's so many avenues you could have gone with working with your hands. Yet molding and monsters and sculptures and effects, like, to me, it's just though I'm in the business with you, it always blows my mind seeing it. It's an insane amount of art and like processes. It just blows my mind that you can even do it. Like,
I think in this industry, doing special effects, there's every kind of whatever artistically you want to achieve. If you want to be a painter, if you want to be a drawer, if you want to have like a career in special effects makeup, I think you need to learn all of that. You need to learn how to draw. You need to learn how to paint on canvas, and every like aspect, every, aspect of art, whatever you can use towards special effects makeup and things like, or any kind of art, and I always say it's like you're Batman, right? And everything you learn, every skill along the way is like another tool on your belt, right? Whether you can paint on canvas, like it's good practice for how you paint on a face, like it's muscle memory, it's keeping a brush in your hand, it's color theory, there's nothing, so it's important to kind of learn every aspect of every kind of art form, and you just use it, you apply it all into one, one industry. So
100%. With that being
yeah.
said, too, do you ever feel like that saying, like, jack of all trades, master of none? Like, does that ever apply where you feel like, God, if I spread myself so thin with learning all these avenues, because you're still hyper focused on SFX, like you're smart to continue to use that muscle with your hand, like you said, with painting and other things that are helping you build on your career and just fine tune it, if you will. But do you ever feel like it distracts you, or it just really all kind of
I think it all just comes together. Yeah, I mean, it really, I use all of that, and there's things I've learned along the way in different, different avenues that I've applied towards makeup specifically. And I think, like, for advice to anybody else, like trying to start out, like me or whatever, is to explore every avenue, and sometimes, like, when you're starting out, these materials can get expensive, and if you're trying to make it on your own, especially, this stuff's pricey, but there's ways to cheat that into still creating and still getting original ideas out that that are less expensive, like little super sculpty sculptures that you can get at AC Moore. You can buy the clay for $15 a block. Yeah. Use aluminum foil, and you build your own original monster. You bake it, you paint it. You don't have to mold anything, and it's an original creature you put on your shelf. And so it's just like,
you're making me want to go to like
it's
all the places, Michael's right now, and be like, you know what was I lacking? I need to go finesse.
Forge through your parents' house, find lost items, and incorporate them in clay and make a cool, weird mech monster. I don't know, like.
I love it.
The creativity is endless as long as you want to be a creative person, so.
And for you, I mean, that's the thing too that inspires me about you. It's like you being, obviously, I mean, you've been doing the business for quite some time. I want to say new as in because your energy is still so fresh. Like you're just so motivated. You take every chance and opportunity you can to just continue to grow. And you're a yes man. You're like, I'm there. I got it. I'm in. Yeah. You just want to give your best and keep building, which is super inspirational. And I hope you never, ever, ever lose that.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing to do what you want for a living and to be able to pay your bills doing the thing that you've always wanted to do. Like, why lose that energy? I don't, the industry can get tough at times and it's long hours and things like that. But at the end of the day, like, there's no other job in the world I would rather be doing than this. So why not be positive about it and be excited and just promote the cool art form.
Because I feel like during the pandemic, have you ever hit any moment with that being said, being like, you know what? Because I've had moments. I'm like, maybe I need to find another. I've even talked to the makeup artists. They're like, maybe I gotta find another craft, another skill set that I have that I can enhance because I can't physically be on set and do these things right now. Have you felt that, or are you just like, listen, I'm gonna ride it out
sure.
so I can get back on set? Have you honed any of your skills, or what are you feeling?
No, for sure. I've definitely had those like moments of doubt where like it's a little too much, bills are piling up, whatever it is. It's just like, man, is there another industry that's more suited? But at the end of the day, when the world eventually goes back to normal, I don't want to do anything else, like I have to hold it out and I have to fight.
I can't do anything else.
Yeah, what else is there? I fought so hard to get to this point because it's the only thing I wanted to do.
Right.
It's worth sticking it out, and it's gonna go back, and we're gonna be back to normal soon, and it's gonna be even sweeter to have it back again for.
This man, for the people, like, anytime I even speak to you, I'm just like, let me go reevaluate. Anytime I've ever complained, and I'll go. But I admire it, and you started off. Okay, so we're taking it way back. The beginning of Phil time, where it's like you just venturing into stuff, which I love, because I actually, ironically, when I was looking into makeup schools, Tom Savini's school, I actually did look into, but I was just
I didn't know that.
Yes, I did, and I looked into like Vancouver Film School, and I looked into like other, and so many people were like, you have to go to New York, you don't go over, and so I got in my own bag, and people told me kind of where I needed to go, and then when I found Makeup Forever Academy, I was like, that's my fit.
Where like you from originally? Like, where's your parents from?
I'm in like
where'd you grow up
area, so I'm not far
from
here. Westford, Mass.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah,
not
East
far.
Coast.
I also think my family was like, don't go all the way to West Coast. They were like, well, go to New York, close enough. We'll deal with you there. That's fine. That would be good.
Yeah.
Okay. But Broadway was a goal, so that was it made sense to be in that market. but
Yeah.
you,
It's so your wheelhouse.
yeah, I was like, I could do this. This is fine for me for now.
Yeah.
But I love that you went there. And I think, you know, watching just different videos I have about their schooling and what they offer you, I kind of want you to give us a little taste of people that are looking into schools, just your experience on what you felt you got out of it.
Yeah. You know, listen, I really had no experience with this stuff prior. I think I did like one zombie makeup on my brother before even like attempting for this, right? Like, I didn't even guess what special effects makeup was. I knew what movies were, and I knew what art was, and I knew after I graduated high school, I was kind of took some time off to figure out my direction, and it's pretty cool. And back in 09 when I grew up, we had this program called STARS program, which means like if you're in the top, I think it's the top 15 of your class, or your graduating class. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, let me see if I.
This is my.
You break up a little bit. I'll tell you when to slow down too. It's totally.
It says the internet was a little unstable or whatever, but can you hear me okay now?
Are you mentally stable now? Yes.
Mentally, no, not mentally. No, internetly, yeah, maybe. But
you're back in clear. You're good.
Okay, cool. So when I graduated high school, we had, you know, this New Jersey STARS program, which means if you graduate in the top 15% of your class, you know, you're where you stood in your class, whatever. Yeah. You could have you qualified for pretty much free school, so free college. So you would do like 2 years at a community school, and then you get your credits, you get your prerequisites, your general studies all out of the way, and then you could transfer your credits to like a state college, not like a university, and you get your bachelor's in whatever you wanted to. So I qualified for that. I was smart. I was actually a smart kid in high school. I got like straight A's and all that good stuff.
Actually, you are a very
I don't know. but so I knew even then, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew then that you know, going through the college route and all that kind of stuff, I would settle on something and I could do it fine. But there was nothing that really would satisfy my soul. So I took time off. I took 2 years out of high school to just really find myself and what I wanted to do and really anchor down a direction. And I was always of the mindset where like, whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to shoot for exactly like, I'm going to shoot for what I want to do and not stop until I achieve, you know, like why did
is needed. Like, let me tell you, it's that kind of, and I don't know about you, but I know in school what they told us. I mean, for me to know that you're on that right path, you really have to have that fire. And I think so many people now miss out on that and think, I just got to do that because it's what I think I'm supposed to be doing, or people are telling me that. You really know when you're on your right path, when you have to do it. And you're so nothing, like you're saying, could deter you from really getting there.
I really needed that time to really discover what that was exactly. Yeah. And when I was able to put a label on it, you know, I really got to thinking, like, if I could do one thing for the rest of my life, what would it be? And it could have been anything. It could have been an astronaut, you know, whatever it was. I was going to answer that question. I was going to really go for it. And I grew up in a very artistic home. My dad, you know, went to art school. He was at a very prestigious school, Columbus College of Art and Design in Ohio, which is very prestigious. Yeah, he did 3 years there. And growing up, you know, in that household, you know, we were making model cars and dinosaurs, and we were always painting and drawing. And the artistic, you know, juices were always encouraged in us and stuff. And so I know it always was artistic, and family movie nights on Fridays were always old horror movies and monster movies and things like that. So I love those. So I was like, if I could do one,
your whole environment set you up for this success.
It set it up. I mean, I have to blame my parents probably for it, or my dad, you know, specifically. But he made, you know, I grew up with the classics too. Like, I know it's cliche to say in this industry, like Frankenstein, Dracula, but maybe a lot of my friends haven't seen the classics, like my personal friends from high school and things. You know, so exactly. So
I get dogged on all the time, Phil, when I get certain references.
We're gonna change that. We're gonna do movie nights.
Give me like a Rolodex, because I'm like, yeah, I've seen that, and I have to like run to my computer. I'm like,
you have to fake it so hard.
Oh my God. Beauty references I get, but when it comes to like big, especially monster or like old school movie, there's so many classics. Even outside of my country, I just haven't seen. I don't know what my problem is. I'm like, oh, God,
no.
I love that. But keep giving.
And I thought I was in a good. I thought I was in a good place because I literally grew up with like the old like Dracula, you know, the 1930s black and white movies, because my dad did, and he like bonding with him was bonding over those movies, and we would go to old like conventions like Chiller Theater, and you know,
Does
all these horror
that you
conventions,
did then?
and I was a 6-year-old kid in the first actor I ever met. The first person behind a camera I ever met was a guy named Ben Chapman, who played the creature from the Black Lagoon in costume, 1954, man in a suit, Universal classic monster. I was 6, and I have a picture shaking his hand, and I was like, that broke the fourth wall for me. That was like the first person I ever met in a movie I've seen, you know, who like, man, like you can meet these people. These are real people. They're not just in a, you know, in a screen. Like they actually exist outside of that too.
Totally.
So that, like, as a 6-year-old kid, that inspired the crap out of me, you know, and and so I was just like, it was always the little moments like that always kind of pieced the way, and it just once I graduated and I, you know, had to decide on what I want to do, it just kind of all the pieces clicked together, and I was like, man, I could do art for movies. I can get the best of all my favorite worlds, and it was a no-brainer. So I really like. I love monsters. I love movies. Like, why not be the guy who makes monsters for movies or any, you know, art for movies, you know, and it's timeless. So like this, now Ben Chapman's passed. I met him when I was 6, but like his art and his legacy still lives on in cinema. So long after I'm gone, hopefully some of my work lives on, you know, so it's a pretty cool thing to say, you know, to see that stuff. So
I love that.
that's kind of,
I
yeah.
feel like your dad is probably just so proud of you for taking that route and being like, whoa, like my son's actually doing that, and just things that he evidently loves and relates to. Like watching you do that is really powerful.
Yeah, they're really jazzed a lot when I come home with a show we've done, and they love watching it with me, and then, you know, tell them the behind the scenes stories of how that scene was filmed. You know, they're super proud.
It's the best thing and one of the most powerful tools to have supportive parents, especially in the arts, because we don't always often see it. And again, like you had said, it's kind of a career we can venture into, and you can either have really low lows, financially it can be unstable at times, and it's really just, you got to drive it with passion and then just keep going till you make it. And it's a long career. It's very much a journey. It's not overnight success ever. It's rare that we ever see that. And if we
journey's the best part, you know. It's not about arriving at the destination. It's about the journey along the way to get, you know. Like
no, truly, I love it, because it's just so many things and projects I've had coming up to them where I wanted to be. Those were the jobs that made me the strongest. I learned the most. I failed the most to then know what to do later, so I don't fall on my ass on like a bigger, maybe, you know, more prestigious opportunity where you're like, okay, I've got my ducks in a row, so I'm good now. But I love that. Back to your schooling, just because I want to make sure if anybody is interested in it, is it still going on? It is.
I don't know what with the pandemic per se. I don't know what that looks like, but yeah, the school's still active. You can still, you know, apply and get in there. Yeah. So I went back in, it was October 2011 is when I first started. So that was, yeah. So I graduated in 2009 from high school. 2011 October. And it all happened within like a month's time from the time I made like the decision to go to the first day. I never visited the school. I never like the tour or anything. I was kind of coming into it blind. But it just like, it was that spontaneous, like, I got to do this. And it was just like now or never, you know, or I got to get out of this rut. I was working a restaurant job that I was at for like 5 years. And I was just like, it's just routine. You see the same people Monday, you see the same people Tuesday, you know that they get a decaf cappuccino, they get a cup of soup, you know, whatever. It's just like, every day's the same, right?
Exactly.
I was like, I gotta switch this up, and I gotta get on with what the rest of my life looks like. And it was that decision, and I went, and there's a buddy, God bless him, at that restaurant who did a lot of schooling. He helped me apply for all the stuff. He's since passed, and Tom, I love you forever, buddy. But yeah, without him, I wouldn't have been in the school, and so it was just the go, and that was like the most exciting part about it. It was just so spontaneous. So yeah, so I went there. It's a 16-month, not 16 year, geez, 16th month program.
What an intense program. Yeah.
That's a very intense program. But yeah, so 16 months, and I was only able to do 8 or 10. It wasn't even a full year. I did 2 semesters of the 4, and it got too expensive for me. I only got approved for a loan for about half of the cost. It was very expensive, but worth it.
That even right there, even just hearing that alone. Do you even understand? Again, this is where I get like very non-sympathetic for people that are like, well, you know, it was hard, or like, you know, I didn't have enough money. I wasn't making it fast enough. I have bills. I have things to pay, and I get that. I'm here for that. But there is something that I do believe separates certain artists, that when they really want it bad, it doesn't even matter. You still found a way to clearly keep pile driving on to this career path, regardless of you physically even just having to not even complete your education on it. You were still like, all right, that sucks. I'm still going to keep going.
At the end of the day, the jobs don't come from a piece of paper. It comes from, there's a couple things, required for the job. And I think one of them, a big one, which we were touching on, was attitude. I think attitude is a big part of it. Attitude. I think the 3 tiers, I guess, to make it are attitude, obviously talent, and work ethic. How you approach the job, your attitude about it, be positive. Work ethic's a big thing, and I've always had that from grandparents who whenever I would come over and visit, they put me to work in the yard, and I was shoveling something or mowing the lawn or hammering my hand, roofing something or other with them.
Blood,
assisting.
My dear.
Yeah, I always knew a good day's labor, what that was like. I always had a hand-on job. I was landscapers and electricians in Philadelphia on buses and things, and I did every trade on the job, but it was always to kind of further advance myself. And so I always appreciate a good hard day's work. I never I'll never do anything different than that.
I just don't think you realize how rare it is now, unfortunately. I mean,
I see it too, and it's unsettling.
It is, and we work around some incredibly talented, successful artists that make insane, like, untouchable art, and like what they do with special effects, whether it be beauty, body paint. But the one thing I think as a whole, just whether it be our generation and just in any industry, I feel like, kind of, to be honest, but especially hair and makeup, it's like that whole just lazy, it's like a lazy veil has gone over the industry where it's like, guys, no. And I felt it because similar to where you're saying you kind of came up and you had that drive. I mean, I've been doing this since 2012, so kind of similar. When you were going to school versus when I was getting into my school as well, it was like, or graduating from it, I guess, there was just so much more. And I don't know if that's because I had the new eyes on, you know what I mean? Like, I had my very, like, brand new, like, getting into the industry, so everything felt like boom, boom, boom. But I don't know, there's something about it. And I think that's the biggest thing, like you're saying, hold on to, is the work ethic. Like, don't let that go, regardless of how long we're doing this, no matter the job, no matter the rate you're getting paid, like, your work ethic, the work you actually are putting out there, should not lack at any time, really, because you're representing yourself and your brand. And
honestly, just being out there in social media, and I've had friends I went to school with who still aren't employed in the industry, who are still trying to fight their way in, and I gotta be honest, like, I think if you had a good attitude, if you're very positive, if you're uplifting, and people want to be around you, be somebody that people want to be around, that, and like a good attitude and a good work ethic, like, that alone could get you hired, even if your talent's not 100% there yet. Right? Like, I still fail at work here and there, like, I still come short too, like, and not too, like, I'm super high and mighty. I'm learning. I'm still learning, and which is awesome. That's the exciting thing. And I hope to always be learning, but I don't think, like, I ever had to really learn work ethic and attitude. And attitude is just because it is the way I was raised. It's the family I come from,
That's the other part. I don't think it's something necessarily, and I hate to be that person, I don't know if you can learn it. I think sometimes it can be, but I do think it's something about your character and just what's instilled in you. So, and that's, again, that will just set people apart as far as maybe how, quote unquote, far they go, or just where they feel they are on a certain level, or certain jobs they're able to obtain. Is because it's like I just think of Beyonce. You think of her work ethic and what she's able to accomplish and do.
Yeah.
And it gets leveled out. You're like, damn, well, there's no wonder she has a bajillion albums sold, and she
deserves it. She deserves it all. She's
put in that time, that effort, and that just nonstop hours to really hone her craft. So that's something I hope you never let go of. It's so inspirational that you do. And I feel like that is a huge reason as to why going from school, it took you to, I would say, one of the most pivotal moments in your career yet. But I do think, again, I don't even want to talk about where you're going to end up being and what you've really accomplished, because it's mind-blowing to me in the short amount of time.
But so sweet.
No, listen, it's facts. But when you got onto Face Off season 12 with our dear girl, Faina, like, that was
our homie, right?
Our dear girl.
Shout out to Faina. We have to shout her out, or she'll.
Yeah.
We have to, or she'll punch both of us in the.
Hello, we love you. We're obsessed with you.
We love you, Faina.
Yes, exactly. But when you got on that show, was that just like you being like, oh my God, it's happening for me?
So yeah, that was pretty cool how that happened. So I left school. I was in like 40 some K of debt, even for the little you know, the 8 months I was there, which man, I had a loan for housing and for food. I didn't have to work when I was there. I just wanted to focus on what I was doing. So I took a little extra money. So it's not maybe necessarily 40K for the 8 months or whatever.
Yeah.
It's what my, you know, what my situation was.
I
But all I have to say is
yes.
I came out of it without a degree and with you know, a drive, or I had a decision to make whether I want to stay with it, even though I didn't learn everything, you know, that there is, or do I keep pushing on and kind of take the basics of what I learned and teach myself. Sure. I went that route. And you know, God bless my parents, because, you know, I was living here at the time. My bedroom, I turned that into a little studio. I put a table in the corner and I put paint on the walls and clay marks on the carpet. And they never chastised me for that.
An award. They're really
deserve
one rider.
They are the unsung heroes. And it really, I have to say this, I wouldn't be here without them, you know, for that support and stuff. Who lets their kid destroy the carpet in the bedroom, you know, and all that stuff. So, so that was a crucial time in my life for learning and for growing and maturing as an artist, because I really did learn a lot in that little bedroom, and I always will hold that right here in my heart. But so after I came out of the school, I had all this debt that I had to pay off. I couldn't afford it because I had, you know, I did a little construction job right out of there. I got paid like $10 an hour, and it wasn't enough to cover my bills, and my school loans were now coming in. I'll be honest, my loan went into default, and I was like, now I'm paying lawyers off, and I'm having to pay, all my money is going right to the lawyer, you know, and it's just like, I had no life. So it was just like this really low spot. Yeah. And I ended up getting a job with my older two brothers. I have 3 older brothers, the oldest 2. Yeah. Them 2 and me, we did a job out in Philadelphia where we installed their surveillance camera systems on the public transportation. Like, it's like MTA in New York, but we did it for SEPTA. And we installed all the camera systems on all the buses, and that was really, really good money. We got a flat wage for every bus we did. We did 2 buses a night. Trains were even more. And so all the public transportation. So I was able to pay my loan. Like, I paid it in like 2 years. At like 22, I paid off my loan like that. Like, I had to, because lawyers were coming down my neck, and I was in default. Like, that's my credit. But I had to, right? And so I was always chasing jobs and jobs and jobs to pay that loan down. And, you know, I was a church janitor at a point. I was a landscaper. Like, I'd done every job under the sun, you know, stuff I had to do, not necessarily that I wanted, but it was stuff that was paying the bills to pay that bill down to eventually. And when I would come home from every one of those jobs, I would come home and I would sculpt something, or I would mold something, or paint something. I would do a makeup on myself, or, you know, I did that by day. By night, I was always creating. Yeah. And that was like some of the most important learning I've ever done in my life. It really is.
It really is, though. It's like, if I don't have time to experiment and just work shit out in my head that I'm trying to learn. You have to
have that time. It's a matter of, you know, don't be afraid of failing, because that's like the most crucial lesson that you could ever have, is failing. Because when this stuff is as expensive as it is, you whenever you fail, you remember exactly what not to do the next time, you know, and you get enough of those what not to do's. Yeah. Well, certainly you know, by default, you start succeeding a little bit more and more, you know. So all I have to say is, like,
$120 bottle of glue. I only have so many cups. Like, for real.
Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah, you spill one of those $120 bottle of glues, and you're just like, oh man. But so my last job outside the industry, I was a landscaper, and we were laid off for winter. I mean, you're not mowing lawns in the winter time, so we were laid off. I was collecting unemployment. It actually ended up being the perfect time frame, because right around February, March of that year, we were still, you know, off. Face Off approached me. I guess my buddy Anthony was on season 10, so he recommended so they came to him.
I thought it was an application moment. He said they saw me.
No, so they came to me to see if I was interested, but I still had to go through the application process, and that was a very vigorous process. It was my first time doing it. Yeah. And you know, what I was saying as I was going through it was, if I had to do this all over again, I probably wouldn't apply again. Like, you know, it was pretty intense, and thank God that I was unemployed at the time, because I had the time to go through it all. It was thousands of sheets of paperwork that you had to sign and all this stuff. And you had to keep advancing to the next stage. Like, you had to keep making the cut, you know?
Oh yeah, it's not like a one round thing. Even I went out for Skin Wars. I went out for something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think I made it to 1 round
Okay,
And
yeah.
they were like, thank you so much. And I was like, cool, yep, bye.
Thank you, yeah.
Like the interview part, whatever, you send your portfolio. There's so many things that people don't realize. Like,
How did you not get on with your personality alone would get you on? Like, you're bubbly.
no,
And
I guess I'm not. I was like, I tried again, maybe. I tried for glow.
they're missing out. They're missing out. No, but this was so this was my first ever time trying out. It was season 12. And little known fact, I mean, I don't know if it's over, the show's done with, so I don't think I'm breaching any contract, but season 12, there was 13 seasons of the show. Season 12 was the last one ever shot. So season 13 was shot before season 12, even though it aired after. Yep. So we were technically, so for me getting on, that was the possible last chance I could ever have gotten on.
Yeah, really?
And it was one and done. It worked out. It was beneficial. And yeah, and we got to I got to meet my homegirl Faina on that, and all the other friends I made on that.
Truly.
And that
those didn't get to watch it and don't know. I mean, you literally placed 5th, and as far as you're even schooling that, you didn't even finish. You're literally still on their actual website of their face-off friends. Like,
oh wow,
that's right. Phil's name is on there, and we didn't even complete.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. No, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think from our season, me and Suzanne were the two that came from Savini School of that particular season. Yeah. And yeah, it was cool. You know, it was cool to honor them or represent them. You know, and yeah, you know, it was pretty nerve-wracking because I don't like being in front of a lot of people, and then now you're on national TV, which is freaky. But B, like, I had almost little to no experience in professional world beforehand. And the whole fake it till you make it thing is so real because I faked everything. I pulled out everything I've ever done in my portfolio to send to them to show them what I could do. And it was sculptures in like little super sculpey sculptures. And it was even makeups. It was like just to show the wide variety of things I could do. But I guess it was enough to get through.
Because they were like, they clearly saw either your innate talent or felt like, dude, this man has something. And again, hello, talk about personality. They're like, what a charming, sweet dude. Like, let's go. So I'm just happy you were placed there because I feel like, for me, and again, not that it makes or breaks your life to have those moments, but it's another one of those validation little like pins where you're like, okay, I'm on the right track. Okay, I'm doing the right thing.
It was, and when I first went out for Savini School was months before the first season of Face Off came out. So I like to say that I got into this right before Face Off. You know, Face Off wasn't the reason I got into this field. You know, and I to watch that, we watched the seasons through our time at Savini School. We would watch them in the big screen. You know, the whole school would gather around and watch it. So some former Savinis were on it, so that was pretty cool. And to be on the last possible season, even though it's not the last one aired, was pretty exciting. It came kind of full circle. So that was a cool journey to be a part of, and you know, to watch it as a fan and you know, a juvenile, I guess, with like eyes wide open. You know, you're watching people create, and like, how would I do it if I was in that shoe? You know, and to actually be put in that situation, it was intense. You know, it was. In that time, that clock is, you know, that's your number one enemy because that thing does not stop. There's no joke on that clock.
Literally, right? I can't even deal with not only a million cameras in my face, but me, like you're saying, I'm really faking it to make it here, and it's like real life competition and job. It's an intense environment. Was there ever something, I guess, a moment that you can recall back on working on the show that you were like, God, if I could have just completely done that differently, I would have.
Oh, the whole thing.
Stop.
No, seriously, because I literally had almost little to no experience beforehand, and this was like my first big thing, and it was me in front of the camera, which is weird, you know, which was like you walk around and people have to walk you to the bathroom because it's like, and they have to announce cast, you know, because when you're in the studio, they could be talking about the next challenge, and they don't want you overhearing, so you're walking to the bathroom, and they're like, cast walking, cast in the area. They announce your presence, and it's just like, it was the whole competition aspect of it. They keep you secluded from the outside world. You know, it's not just a reality show; it's a competition show on top of reality. Right. So it's like they keep you. You know,
the show, right? That's a whole.
Yeah. So like we didn't talk to our families and things like that. So it was pretty tough. But yeah. So it was just like, this is my first big makeup job, and now I'm in front of the camera and not behind it. You know, which was like, man, it's weird. You know, you watch shows like Top Chef or Project Runway and all that stuff. Well, they don't deal with like productions like we do, right? A chef goes back to his kitchen, you know, fashion designers go back to their, you know, sewing rooms and things like that. but on the outside, we're makeup artists for TV. We work in TV, you know, so it's the same industry we work in, but instead of there being talent that we work on, we're the talent, and we're still doing makeup. It was just a weird dynamic, yeah.
You putting it like that is definitely a different trick bag because you are acting as the talent.
This is our industry. I can identify anybody. Like, oh, that's the, you know, that's the gaffer. That's the best boy, you know, like. You know who everybody is, like what their role is, because that's literally our industry. We just work behind the camera, you know? So it was weird to be in front, you know?
Well, what a great experience. And I'm just glad you had it, because I do think it, you know, on top of just being a wonderful experience and learning curve, I mean, it brought you to, I mean, and I might be wrong in this, but when in your life did you get to the point after Face Off where you started working in your SFX shop? Which, please say it properly, because I feel like I'm going to say the name wrong for some reason. Of the shop under Josh Turry's watch that you were.
It's Designs to Deceive is the shop name.
To Deceive. That's all I was like, am I gonna?
Designs to Deceive.
I love it. And it's basically, I mean, close to home right now, right? They're in New Jersey.
Yeah, they're in New Jersey. They're North Jersey. My parents are South Jersey. So yeah, the timeline was about a month after I came back from Face Off. I had met Josh Turry at an Iatse a year prior to Face Off, to all that.
Wow.
We introduced, I was doing a makeup with Tom Suppernut, my buddy Tom. I love you, Tom. We were doing a makeup together at Delium Tools for Delium brushes and stuff. And we tag teamed this cool makeup together. And it was right by the museum in Iatse. And Josh Turry was the curator of the museum at Iatse. So he was right there. Yeah. So we were the next booth. So Tom and Josh were old buddies and just being in the makeup world together. And so Tom introduced me to Josh, and I got to meet Josh. And you know, I just was myself. You know, I didn't fake anything. We were doing a cool makeup, and I got to talk to him a little bit. So that was that. That was the end of IMATS or whatever. And, you know, I went, did Face Off, all this other stuff. So I came back in October 2016 from Face Off. I had like a little vacation time with my family, went to like the Catskills and did a little, you know, hiking, camping trip up there for like a week. And it was like a month after the day I came home, I got a message from Josh. He said, "Hey Phil, I don't know if you remember me, Josh Turry from IMATS, met a year ago."
I don't know if you remember me. How dare you?
I was like, dude, of course.
Yeah, great.
And he's like, "Hey man, just wondering if you're like willing, available for work. Like, can you come in and interview us?" Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like this is like I got to call it up for the big leagues, you know? Of course, man. So we scheduled a little interview. I drove up. It's from my parents' house to the shop is 2.5 hours.
Okay.
I could make it into, you know, if there's no traffic through the oranges.
Bigger than I thought it was. I'm thinking it's like a 20-minute ride, but Jersey's.
Oh no, Jersey's huge. Yeah, it's the whole coast. So, like, yeah, I'm at the very southern portion of it where all the beaches are, and he's at the very north end, you know, right by New York. So it's pretty much the whole length, the whole east coast of New Jersey that you're driving. Yeah. And I came in with an interview. You know, I came in for an interview, met with him. Our buddy Brian, who works with us too, was in the shop at that time, so I got to like kind of meet him and stuff. Interviewed with him, showed him a bunch of my stuff, what I could do, and he's like, "Yeah, man, like come in and you know, it was kind of like a internship turned into like a role, you know, and it ended up being the perfect place for me. Let me talk about the shop for a second and saying that how lucky am I, how blessed am I that I got in with the shop I did, because these are all like-minded individuals like me. They, you know, humility and just putting, you know, good work ethic in there. You know, we do our best artwork that we can, you know, with the time given to us, but it's all about being, you know, we accommodate the production as much as possible. We try to be yes men as much as possible. We're trying to be the good guys, try to be humble and nice and kind and pleasant to be with, to work with. And that's kind of like our legacy that we try to, you know, promote, is just being the good, kind, cool guys that, you know, we have fun doing it, you know, we have fun and it's not so strenuous and, you know, tons of farts in the shop and stuff.
Well, that's my other thing. Is there any women in your shop, or it's all boys currently?
We have a girl Natalie in there. She I can't say the character because it's never been photographed, but there's a Broadway show we do who she runs all those pieces, and she comes in the shop all the time, and we work with her extensively. Yeah, she's awesome. So yeah, we do have, and she hangs out with the guys. Just she holds her own.
Good for her. I know it can be tough in this industry. It's especially the SFX world. I feel like is way more, though there are our staple women and there's a decent amount of women in it. They don't necessarily, I think, always get the forefront because there is, statistically wise, there's way more men in that side of the beauty business and the makeup
Right.
world.
Right.
Which I do see it segueing a little. I think it's opening up, whether it be women seeing that they actually do have opportunity there, or that there is, a place for them that maybe they didn't feel like there was before, just stereotypically, and also just breaking into it because it is such like a boys' club, if you will. I've talked about this with Spike.
But it shouldn't be. It's an art club,
And it shouldn't be 100%. And I can't fault the men that chose that path. That's where their skills are and what they want to be doing. But I do love that you guys have a really great shop and very kind and open. And I know a lot of people that have worked with you guys, because mind you, you build a lot, but then you also get to go on set. Like there's a bunch of, your resume already as is, Phil, is quite extensive as far as the projects you've already been a part of due to the shop, obviously, and what you guys are creating in that shop. For people that don't know, most times, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, the process, you will definitely know better than I will, but all the things that you're making in the shop, it will be shows or people that are reaching out to you saying, we need you to build these things for X episodes or this gig or that gig. Right. You guys do the work. And then 9 times out of 10, I would assume you also show up on set, whether it be Josh or you or whoever else is on the team of building it, and will apply it and run it on the show, correct?
Exactly. You're right. So it's right now it's a shop of like 4 principal artists. It's Josh, the department head, the shop owner, the prosthetic designer, and all that. Yeah. His key, Brian Spears. Brian's an amazing artist, got his way up through the indie circuit as like the king of the indie world. It's me, and then it's Jared Baylog, and those are like the 4 key, just all the time artists. And then we always bring in some other artists. We have other applicators, and that's where we're able to bring in a lot of awesome female artists that come in and they'll apply with us. And like, hey, the cool thing about special effects and prosthetics is that we're able sometimes to kind of work on a few shows at a time because we're not needed on set every single day. Right. So we have to stop time to build things that we can build a couple shows at the same time, and we bounce around and make, time management. Yeah. And then we are able to divvy out the set work when that's needed. And sometimes it's me on set by myself and applying just some pretty cool makeups. Sometimes it's me and Brian's on another show. And Jared's doing his thing in the shop, and they're building stuff. Josh and Jared back in the shop building. So, we're kind of stretched out, but we need another artist. So we're bringing, we have Mel Okada, is an amazing, artist. She comes in with us a lot. Libby Rose, a lot of cool. We have Lisa Forrest, who's nominated for an Emmy. Congrats, Lisa. Comes in. So we have a lot of cool talent. We have a lot of people that we were able to, pull from, a lot of cool talent that we're able to pull from to help us out with applications and things. But yeah, usually one of us who had a hand in building the thing is out there because we know how it works. We know how it was built. We know how it's manufactured. So
you're running it, which is what an exciting thing that not only do you get to build it, see it from the conception stage, and whether you're casting it, no, not casting it. What's the word when you're doing the molds on the actor? Like, are you casting them?
Applying.
What's the part though with the actual cement and like, let's say the person is coming as the actor and you need to get their shape of their head or.
Oh, that's life cast. Yeah, life cast.
I was like, is it casting? Life casting. Perfect. Rachel, halfway there.
Yeah. So many times I've had my hands in from the life cast phase all the way to the application phase, which is pretty cool because and every step along the way, and that's kind of New York. That's New York is we're smaller shops. We're smaller shops in smaller little industry warehouses. We don't have the big, airplane hangar shops with 60 people. So we have to kind of do it all. We have to be well-rounded, all of us. And we have to know every phase and every step and just like, hey, can you plug into that thing? Yeah, sure, no problem. Can you go jump in on that? Yeah, cool. Like we have to be able to bounce around and rely on each other really it really is a team effort to the umpth degree,
Yeah. Well, truly though, even in that, like you're saying, it's like you really get to have your hand in all the areas, which again just gives even more experience for you. So that way, one day, maybe 10 years, whatever years down the line, where you end up, maybe you want to move to California and you start getting in the LA scene, like you might be able to target yourself just specifically to molding if that becomes an opportunity, or you do all on set work. Like you now have the gamut across the board of having your hand in every step, which I think is.
I don't think I could go back. I don't think I could go back to one department and be one department. I like the guerrilla style of being part of all of it.
I love that, and I like that Josh. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know many of people. I've never personally met him, but I know a lot of people who have had him come on sets where they're on the beauty makeup team, obviously, like the running team for that show, and they've met him and worked with him, and he's such a blessing. He's such a good guy, very kind. Yeah. So what a great environment to just be in general, right?
Yeah, we're so blessed to work with some really cool makeup department teams and things, and it really is, even then, like not just like us in our shop, but with the teams that we work with, the makeup departments we work with, and the hair departments,
Totally.
we've been so blessed, even lately, just like with the coolest department heads and keys and all that kind of stuff and thirds, and it's just like, and we really all just build each other up, and when that's the environment you work in, your end product is infinitely better.
Always better.
Right? When there's no stress on set, you know. And
Yes.
even the talent we get to work on, I've been blessed with that avenue too, where we're really cool actors who just give you the time of day, and like productions breathe in your neck. You're coming in for a touch up, you know, and you're like trying to get in and out real quick, and they're like, relax, like don't worry, do what you need to do. I'll handle them, you know, like take your time. And, you know, they really offer that.
It's respectful of your craft. It's like you're getting to work with them and make their craft be enhanced with you doing the makeup and making them look good. So I love when the respect is given back from the actor of them giving you the time and just the energy behind it to do your best work, because it's a team effort in that, you know?
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's filmmaking in general, is every department comes together to make a product, you know, and as long as everybody's loving, we're always going to have a fun time, and we're always going to, you know, something cool. And it really just makes the end result that much better when everybody can collaborate together. So,
Always.
yeah.
I love that.
So when the time of day.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You're breaking up a tiny bit. So I was like, oh, I don't want to interrupt him, but go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm on Wi-Fi. You know, I'm sorry if it's.
They're overwhelmed by our facts that we're giving right now. They're like,
they can't keep up with us. The internet can't keep up with us.
Yeah, they're at a different level. But it did bring me to a really good segue, and I appreciate you bringing up all that, because I want to talk about a little like present-day stuff that's going on in the industry. I know I recently joined in our union. I don't know if you saw it, but it's the diversity committee. So it's because of the whole civil rights movement, everything going on, Black Lives, and just, you know, different levels of harassment and maltreatment and, you know, et cetera, we could go on. So I've joined that committee, and within that committee, which is really awesome, I love that 798 is even doing that in the first place and creating a safe space for all of us, and to be able to come in the committee and move forward with actual action to help create safer environments for all our brothers and sisters, which is great.
Yeah.
And a touch on that is, you know, there are physical people who will be on set or held more, I guess, accountable to be aware of if there's like maltreatment or harassment or, you know, just inappropriate behavior happening on set, where like when we're physically on the job. Because of course, innately, if there's stuff going on in a shop or other things, unless there's an overseer, somebody checking in on that, that's going to be a hard thing. It's going to be more or less just the people, you know, holding themselves accountable for behavior that they're watching or, you know, taking place that's either wrong or inappropriate and just full on harassment and abuse. So with that being said, recently in specifically the SFX industry, we've seen that turn during the pandemic of certain people, we won't name names.
Yeah, there's been a lot of outings on that.
A lot of outings, which I appreciate, because again, we want to weed out those people, because we don't want those people in our shops, and we don't want.
I think that's the best, you know, best way to resolve this issue is with evil like that, is to expose it, is to get it out there, let people know.
Agreed.
You know, it doesn't matter how talented you are, if that's the kind of person you are, and that's kind of the way, you know, you treat people.
Right.
I don't care how talented you are. You know, there's talent before you, and there's going to be talent after you. You know, your spot can be almost, you could be replaced, and for somebody who just has better human dignity than you, or, you know, it's cheeky, man. It sucks that's like, and some of them have been people I've looked up to, you know, as artists, and it's just like, it's disappointing to find out that that's who they are on the outside, and it's uncalled for. It really is.
And I'm proud of you for even making that statement, to be honest, because I know in our industry, again, we're two young artists. Listen, you know, we're coming up, we're networking, we're getting to know people. And like you had said, it's very vulnerable. You look up to these people. And that's the one thing I want like listeners and just upcoming artists to realize, is that at the end of the day, kind of like how social media has that veil, you feel very personal and as if you know these people. And what you have to really know is that you don't know these people. You know, we might look up to them, we might know their art, we might see their work and what they present to the outside world, but be very conscious of who you put yourself around, and go with your gut feeling. And when something doesn't feel safe, or there's bad behavior that you're around, or a situation that's happened to you, or a friend, I hope we're working more in the world where we're able to stop it from the beginning and create those safe spaces, kind of like the diversity committee is doing, creating that, you know, valid safe space to go to be like, anonymously tell somebody what's going on, so they have that avenue to be like, I can get help, I can stop something from happening, and not feeling that like power shoulder behind me of being like, well, that person's giving me a job and they're like this pioneer in our industry, who the hell am I, newbie coming in, and I'm going to stop them in their tracks. But I think it's a wonderful thing, like you said, it's not needed. There's talent before them and there will be talent after them. We watch the celebrity world all the time, and it's a hit, you're like, damn, really, that person? But it is what it is. You don't know these people. That's what I always try to say. You don't know them.
And if you're so shallow as that, like if that's how you want to conduct business, or that's you want to be as a person and treat people, well, it doesn't matter how talented you are, you're replaceable. You're going to be replaced, and someone can do the job. Maybe not as good, but the job will get done without you,
Right.
And that's not the incentive. That's not, let's make it clear that that's not the incentive, that's what, like, why you shouldn't act that way. You shouldn't act that way because it's morally, ethically wrong.
Wrong.
It's wrong.
Not even about, oh, you're in a prestigious stature and you make good work, you better act right. It's like, no, just on a general standing human.
Just let that part of your personal, trait is treat people with kindness and respect. And I was brought up in a house where the biblical sense of you do unto others as they would want them to do unto you. Like that was like how we were raised. And also with women specifically. My father raised us to believe that how you treat your wife is how you treat your mom is how you treat your wife. So mom has the most respect, and moving forward, if I ever get married and have kids and things, it's going to be treated with the same respect. And every woman I come in will always have that same respect. And I will always look out. And if I'm on set and have a boss that will back me up on this, if I see something on the line like that. If I'm in charge that day and I have some people working for us and stuff and under us, and I see, somebody be mistreated, I'm going to step in and say something. And I know Josh has my back saying, yeah, dude, you're right. There's no backlash to that because you spoke up for what was right, and I'll never stand by and let that go off, So.
No, and I appreciate it. And it means the world, because it's like in those moments, obviously with the women's being the primary victims right now, we need the men like you, the good guys, to be like, hey, I saw that, and I'll step up and take that hit for you if they're not feeling safe and secure. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate you and Josh and that whole team just doing your part in it. On a happier note, on a little lighter note, I want to know what's upcoming for you. I want to know what's, moving on. I know we're in the pandemic, in the midst of craziness, and by all intents and purposes at a halt for, hiatus on work. But are you having
I did my hair today, I put on a nice shirt, I dressed up, I mean, listen, I rolled out of bed like this.
Is the day.
I even got a haircut this morning for this.
Yes, girl.
Let me shamelessly plug my brother real quick. Dave Shave down in South Jersey does the best cuts for all you fellows looking for a fresh shave, or ladies, if you're tired of your boyfriend, your husband's look.
I love it. That is
so. Yeah. So what's looking forward? I think we've been getting some loose texts and loose conversations started about some possible shows that we. So how this year started out, which was awesome. Yes. We ended the year off. We had a lot of shows going on. We wrapped all those out, even into the February of this year and stuff. And we went through the holidays, all that, and we had, like, for the first time ever, we had the year planned as far as shows go. We had every show for every month. We just had it all segueing into each other.
1 year, it's all, I know.
It was the first year, it was all planned out, and of course this happens, and it all squashes everything. But it is what it is. People have it way worse than me, so I can't complain. Yeah. And so we're talking now about what coming back looks like, and there could be some work within the next couple weeks, end of August, early September, somewhere in there. And so it's there's 2 shows we did last year, and both of those are coming back for a second season, so we're gonna be able to get back into that. We had to end one show, kind of midway, one show out in Philly with M. Night Shyamalan on Apple TV. Yeah. And we have 4 episodes left of season 2 to film there. And in his free time, apparently, he's written the later seasons of the show. He's written so he knows how the show is going to end and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty cool and exciting. So we have 4 episodes left to wrap season 2 of that show out. And that looks like it's coming back pretty soon. So shows we're starting to get that conversation of what coming back looks like.
Happen with like you're saying, other shows that were in pre-production or during production, and they're ready to continue on. And in the COVID environment, that we're obviously setting up way more, you know, protocols and things that are but it's happening.
It's gonna be different.
Yeah.
It's gonna be different, but it's nothing we can't handle. And so I'm just looking forward to getting back, especially with, you know, we both live in New York, or in the New York scene. It's expensive up there, and the CARES Act is what kept me floating with a car and car insurance and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to get too political on that kind of stuff. It ended.
Get it back. Yeah. I'm like, please. So, I was like, I was doing pretty well with that, and it's.
I you know what a different.
So expensive.
It just kept my head above the water. I was able to pay my rent's pretty high, so I was able to pay that, pay my car insurance, and car payment, and electrical bill, and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't making money, but I was floating above the water.
That was exactly what you're saying. It's taking care of the necessities, the things that we have. That's food, a home.
Yeah.
So I really, for everyone.
That 600 affects people differently in New York than it does in like Kentucky or Alabama, or, you know, their cost of living is way less. They're generating money. We're just kind of, not to, you know, speak ill on anybody like that or anything, but, you know, the whole or nationwide 600, it doesn't really float when people's cost of living are, you know, fluctuate from.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just pray.
So with that being gone, and sitting here complaining about it or anything, but I will say I'm regenerating my own income again, and go back and earn my own. I want to, earn my income, and put forth the work again, and so my goal moving forward, just continue what I'm doing, and right now is exciting because I get to work at the professional level. It says internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me okay?
Now it's good. Yeah.
Good. All right. So yeah, goals moving forward is to keep on what I've been doing, and it's exciting to work at this professional level, and you know, to be a paid artist, and it's still a matter of growing. It's still a matter of, I'm still getting comfortable with chair etiquette, or just like, you know, you get a high caliber artist in your chair, it can be nerve wracking. So it's getting over those nerves. It's being comfortable.
You do say that, but let me tell you, you worked on some recently, and I'm only saying this too because I've gotten to see the photos that you posted, because of it's already, the episode's aired and whatnot. But you worked on very big people, my friend. You worked on literally, I mean, 50%. You worked on him recently, and that was for ABC for Life.
That was For Life, For Life season 1. So that's one of the shows come back. Is For Life got picked up for a second season, so that's one of our kind of future projects, is we get season 2 of that. So hopefully that goes well.
Out over working with him, I used to bop to his music.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? He came in. And we had this, like, he has this scar under his eye, this keloid that we had put on him, and we came with like 6 options. I came in with 6 options, and I let him pick. And like, I think from that moment I had his respect, you know, like he got to pick what was going on his face. Yeah. And I was just talking with him. I'm very professional, you know, or at least I try to be, and not make a big deal of who's in your chair, you know. But I did have once you feel somebody out, you can kind of have a little, you know, personal conversation. I told him, I was like, hey man, me and my brother would bop Many Men to going to school together. You know, he loved that. And my own cousin, I used to do beats for G Unit a lot. Like he sold his beats to G Unit, and his like beat name, like industry name, was P Solo. His last name's Polium, so his like beat name, or, you know, industry name was P Solo. So I was like, hey man, do you know like P Solo? He's like, he did a bunch of beats for you guys. And he's like, yeah, dude, that name sounds familiar. He's like, but what song did he do beats for? I was like, man, I don't know off the top of my head. So like, as long as he's in my chair, I'm texting his brother, because I don't even have his number. I'm texting his brother, like, hey dude, what did Mike do? His brother's Matt. I was like, hey Matt, what did Mike do? What songs did he do beats for and stuff? And I was trying to get it out of him, but he's like, I can't remember. You have to text him. I didn't have his number, so I was like, you know.
Fishing.
Yeah, I try to make a connection, you know.
Hi, I was on, God, what show was it? Not Blind Spot. Maybe it was Blind. No, I don't know. One of the main actresses, I'm gonna blank on her name, but her last name, her married name is Estabrook. And I've never met another Estabrook.
Another Estabrook.
So she came, she's like the lead girl, and I hate that I'm butchering her name right now, I'm forgetting it, but she's the top actress. And I was like, I day played once, so bear with me. So
gotcha.
when I came on, she was so excited and was like, you know, hey, I'm an Estabrook. And I was like, get out of here. And so And it's like, you can't always set it up, but like when you just innately have that energy with an actor, no matter their caliber, it just feels so great. Because like we talked about earlier, it lets you do your best work. You feel comfortable and respected.
Listen, I 50 Cent's huge, you know, and I was nervous my first day, and he came in, and I was like, oh crap, there, you know, it was one of those. It was like, geez, yeah, it was like one heart pounding moment. And I was just like, you know, I'm not trying to, you know, get nervous in my throat as I'm telling him, like, hey, dude, check out. My hands are like these. It's like, check out these prosthetics, man. Which one do you want to wear? And it's like, and then we got to talking a little bit, and he's kind of quiet in the chair. He just, you know, he's very busy. He's the producer of the show too. He created it, so he's like the big boss. Now he's in my chair, and it's like, all right, man, don't butcher this, you know. So it ended up being a really cool situation where I was, you know, after I did his makeup, I did like two days or so. He had to play another day down the line. I was booked for another show, and they called me up like, hey, 50 like wanted you to come in and do his makeup. So like I had to change. Yeah, so like I had to change the schedule around to like to come in and do it for him. And it was like, it was awesome. It was like a high honor, you know. And
again, another just like pin as we're moving along in our careers. These are all the times you're like, listen, I'm doing something right, damn it. Like he called for me, he liked my energy, liked what I get. And that's it makes me so happy for you, because you just know that whatever's there for you is gonna just keep coming to you. So I love that.
No, listen, it is what you said. It's the beginning, so it's exciting. So ambition and goals set forward, you know, it's just to maintain what I have and just build upon that and get better and get more comfortable and maybe feel like maybe one day I belong on one of these sets and then someone's not going to keep me off in 5 seconds.
No.
Now that I'm union, that helps, because, you know.
Phil, I love it. I'm just so proud of you, and I can't thank you enough for literally giving me this time, because you just gave us so much information and insights and like a world's full of inspiration and just motivation to keep doing what we're doing. I really, really was so happy to have you on. I can't thank you enough.
It is the highest honor. It's all mine. The privilege is all mine. Thank you so much for having me and for asking me. And it's like, I'm sorry we couldn't do it in person, but no, this is so much fun. And a shout out to those homies watching in that are looking up to, you know, or trying to segue their way into this kind of world, is to keep creating and keep, you know, even if you're the weird monster kid and your friends don't understand it 100%, keep creating. Find a way to sculpt, find a way to paint, find a way to, you know, do whatever you can. Make paper mache monsters with flour and newspaper. And if you have the will to create, you're always going to have an avenue to create, and regardless, whatever it is. So just keep pushing forward. And if your attitude's right and your work ethic's right and a little bit of talent, you're going to be fine. So
going to be just fine. Take his words, listen to them wisely. We're going to tag Phil below so you guys can follow him on his journey on his Instagram and keep up with him. He is one to watch. So stay tuned, Phil. Thank you so much again.
I love you so much, and we're gonna plan another project. You and I, you know, we're gonna do something together soon.
We must. Stay tuned with us.
Right.
We're gonna come up with something fun. I have no doubt.
I miss you. That's awesome. Thank you again.
You're welcome. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.